So I'm sitting in my car right now, shirtless, in nothing but a pair of gym shorts and socks, with a bloody tissue shoved up one nostril and a cracked phone in my lap. I don't even know what the hell just happened. All I know is my girlfriend, scratch that, my now ex-girlfriend, punched me in the face. Not once, multiple times. And I can't stop replaying it in my head. It started so normal. Too normal, actually. We'd gone to dinner at her mom's house, just a casual family night with meatloaf, potato salad, and reruns of Wheel of Fortune playing in the background. It was me, her mom, who's cool, her younger brother, always high, and her stepdad, Russ. Russ is the type of guy who's always trying to be funny but rarely lands it. But tonight, he was on a roll. They pulled out an old photo album after dessert, and we were all flipping through it. She had the most ridiculous haircut in her 7th grade photo, like if Dora the Explorer got electrocuted. Russ started dying laughing and called her Mushroom Cat Mia, and I couldn't help it. I laughed. She laughed too. For a second. Then she stopped cold, got quiet, and barely looked at me the rest of the night. No big deal, right? I figured she was embarrassed and maybe I'd gone too far. Whatever. I told her she looked adorable, and she gave me a weird smile that didn't reach her eyes. But then came the car ride home. About 5 minutes in, she reaches over and turns off the music. No warning. Just click, radio silence. I look over, and she's staring out the window like she's trying to melt the glass with her eyeballs. I say, "You okay?" She says, "You think it's so funny, don't you?" I'm like, "What?" And then she unloads. "Everything's just AF asterisk king joke to you. My family, my childhood, my trauma, just material for you and Russ to laugh at." Mind you, this is the same Russ who called her aunt the lizard because of her psoriasis, and she laughed hysterically at that. She starts ranting about how I have this perfect family and perfect little life, and how I can't understand what it's like growing up with dysfunction. Which, okay. I didn't realize laughing at a childhood haircut qualified as class betrayal. We pull into my driveway, and I'm doing what I always do, trying to calm her down. "It was just a dumb joke," I said. "I didn't mean anything by it." And she responds with, "Yeah, well, it meant something to me." Fair enough. I thought that was the end of it. She follows me inside, still kind of fuming, and I go sit on the couch to cool off. I grab my Kindle. Just trying to create some space, you know? I figured she needed to chill, and I didn't want to say something that would make it worse. Big mistake. I'm 2 pages into a sci-fi novella about terraforming Mars when she storms in and snatches the Kindle out of my hands. "You're ignoring me?" I tried to stay calm. I said, "I'm not ignoring you. I'm giving you space." She snapped. Snapped in a way I've never seen before. She launched the Kindle across the room. It hit the wall and made this sickening sound. Then, before I even had a chance to stand up, she's on me. She hits me in the face, closed fist. I stumble back, shocked, and she hits me again. And again. 3 clean hits to the face. I finally get to my feet, heart pounding, face burning, and I just say, "What the fuck are you doing?" She starts screaming, "Get away from me. Don't touch me. Get away." Like I'm the one who just attacked her. She runs to the front door, flings it open, and starts yelling for help like I'm some kind of threat. Now picture this. I'm standing in my living room, bleeding from the nose, shirtless, dazed, and trying to find my phone, which flew under the coffee table when she lunged at me. Meanwhile, she's standing at the door in full view of the street, screaming, "Get out. Get away from me." And the craziest part? She's blocking the exit. Like, full on standing in front of the door, arms outstretched, like a goalie. I'm trying to leave. I shout, and I sidestep past her as best I can and bolt to my car, slamming the door behind me. That's where I am now. Sitting in my car, sweaty, shaking, with blood dripping down my chin and neighbors peeking out through their blinds like they're watching a live soap opera. I haven't moved in 20 minutes. I don't even know what just happened. I don't know if this was a one-off meltdown or if I've just ignored way too many red flags. All I know is, tonight I saw a side of her I've never seen before, and it scared the absolute hell out of me. I'm still in the car, still in my shorts, still bleeding a little. I finally locked the doors, not because I think she's coming back out, but because the idea of her suddenly yanking the car door open again makes my stomach twist into knots. I keep telling myself I'm safe now, but honestly, I feel like I just escaped something way bigger than a single meltdown. And the worst part? I don't even know how it got to this point. Except maybe, I kind of do. There were signs. Stupid little things that, when stacked together, start to look like a pattern. I ignored them because we've been together almost 3 years. Because I loved her. Because I didn't want to believe I'd end up being that guy, the one in a relationship where things get ugly and unpredictable and somehow, it's always your fault. Like the time she flipped out because I didn't reply to her good morning text within 5 minutes. I was in a meeting. She didn't care. Told me I was with someone else, and that no one's that busy. She later apologized, said it was her anxiety. Or the time she went through my laptop while I was asleep. Told me she was just checking to make sure I wasn't hiding anything. Said she didn't find anything, but the fact that she didn't find anything made her more suspicious because I was too clean. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. Then there was the infamous Christmas Eve. Her cousin made some offhand comment about how Mia always has to be the center of attention. I laughed, not in a mocking way, just because of how awkward the timing was. Mia didn't say anything at the time. She just got quiet. Real quiet. That night, after everyone left, she cried for 2 hours straight and accused me of humiliating her in front of her family. It's like she's always looking for betrayal in everything. Still, she never hit me before. Never even came close. Yelled? Sure. Got mean? Definitely. But this was something else. Something snapped in her tonight, and now I can't unsee it. And I think back to earlier in the day, before dinner, when everything was still fine. We were laughing in the kitchen while I helped her prep a salad. She had this little dance she did whenever she was in a good mood, spinning on her heel like she was in some vintage movie. I remember thinking, man, I could marry this girl someday. Fast forward a few hours, and that same girl is screaming like I'm the threat while blocking the only exit, after punching me square in the face. You'd think something like that would be impossible to come back from, right? And yet, part of me still wants to go back in. To talk. To fix it. To make sense of it. Which is the most messed up part of all this. I called my best friend Jake while I was sitting here. Told him everything. He didn't even sound surprised. Just said, dude, you've been walking on eggshells for years. Maybe now you finally felt the crack. He's not wrong. I've spent so much time trying to keep the peace, trying not to set her off, trying to carry her insecurities like they were my responsibility. I thought I was being a good partner. Supportive. Patient. Loving. But what I was really doing was losing pieces of myself. I look at my cracked phone screen and realize she sent me 5 texts since I walked out. You're being dramatic. Come back inside so we can talk like adults. I'm sorry, but you triggered me. This is what you do, you run. You're not even man enough to come inside and fix this. And just like that, I go from scared to angry. Because what actually happened is being rewritten already. It's not about me getting assaulted in my own living room anymore. It's about me being the coward. The bad guy. The one who ran. I glance back at the house. Living room light still on. Curtains slightly open. She's probably watching me. And suddenly, it clicks. This isn't about a joke. This isn't about childhood trauma or family photos or some perfect life resentment. This is about control. It always has been. I didn't go back inside. I know that probably doesn't sound like a huge revelation, but for me, that's monumental. Because every other fight we've ever had, no matter how ugly, I always went back. Always tried to smooth it over, explain myself, apologize for things I wasn't even sure I did. But not this time. Instead, I drove. Nowhere in particular. Just away. I ended up in the parking lot of this all-night diner off Route 84. It's the kind of place where the coffee tastes like sadness and the lighting makes everyone look like a ghost of themselves. I sat in the far booth, hoodie pulled up, with my back to the door, sipping decaf like it was going to solve my problems. I stared at the cracked screen of my phone. New text. I'm scared of losing you. 10 minutes later. You know I didn't mean to hurt you. Then. Don't throw everything away over one mistake. I didn't answer. My lip was split. My cheek was already turning this sick yellowish purple. And I was thinking about the time she told me she hated when I shut down during arguments. Said it made her feel invisible. But what she really hated was when she wasn't in control of the narrative. She wanted a reaction. Any reaction. Me yelling, crying, begging. That would have been a win for her. That would have made this all just another emotional war we'd get through and grow from. But silence? Me walking away? That scared her more than anything. After about an hour, I paid the check and sat in my car with the engine off. I thought about calling my sister, Laura. She always hated Mia. Said she had danger eyes, whatever that means. Once, after Mia threw a wine glass at the wall during a holiday party because I forgot to get sparkling cider for her, Laura pulled me aside and said, "You're gonna wait until she breaks something in you before you leave?" Huh? I laughed it off at the time. Tonight, I remembered that exact sentence word for word, like it had been branded into my skull. I ended up texting her. Just said, "You were right." She called me instantly, didn't even say hello, just, "Where are you?" I told her. She was there in 20 minutes with her car, a hoodie, and a small first aid kit. We didn't even talk much. She just opened the door, saw my face, and said, "Okay, that's it. You're staying with me." I told her I didn't want to cause drama. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Drama already happened, but you're just finally done pretending it didn't." We got to her apartment around 2 a.m. She lives alone, one bedroom, minimal furniture, smells like eucalyptus and cat litter. It felt like a goddamn palace. She made a makeshift bed on her couch with clean sheets and one of those weighted blankets she swears helps with anxiety. She brought me some ibuprofen, a glass of water, and a frozen bag of peas wrapped in a dish towel for my face. And for the first time in probably 2 years, I felt peace. Not happiness. Not relief. Just the absence of that low-level panic I've been living with daily, the one where you're always wondering when the next emotional explosion is coming, and whether you'll be to blame. I didn't sleep much, but I didn't cry either. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying everything, every red flag, every excuse I made for her. Every time I told myself this is just what love looks like when it's passionate. It's not. It's not love if you're scared. It's not love if you need to plan your words like you're defusing a bomb every time you talk. It's not love if she hits you and then asks you to apologize. And I think the most heartbreaking part? Somewhere deep down, I knew that already. I just didn't want it to be true. I must have drifted off around sunrise because I woke up to the sound of my sister making French toast and humming along to some indie playlist. The smell of cinnamon hit me like nostalgia and grief wrapped in sugar. I checked my phone. 7 new messages. 3 missed calls. The last one read, "You're making me look crazy." I just stared at it. I didn't reply. So I didn't answer her last message. The one where she said, "You're making me look crazy." It sat on my screen like a dare. Like she knew exactly what buttons to push. Like if she could just get me to engage one more time, the whole night could be rewritten as a misunderstanding, some big dramatic lover's spat that we could cry about and laugh off in a few months. But I couldn't do it. Not anymore. I sat on my sister's couch, still bruised and sore, still emotionally raw, and I realized this was the first time in years that I wasn't trying to fix someone else's storm. I wasn't trying to decode a mood swing. I wasn't apologizing for a tone I didn't mean. I wasn't replaying a conversation in my head wondering where it went wrong. I wasn't checking my words like I was walking a minefield. I was just sitting, existing. Laura didn't push. She just made me coffee, handed me a hoodie that actually smelled like laundry detergent instead of perfume and anxiety, and told me to take my time. She's always been that kind of person, low-key, steady, the human version of a weighted blanket. I never realized how badly I needed that kind of energy in my life until now. Around noon, my phone rang again. Mia. I didn't pick up. I watched the name disappear off the screen. Then another text came through. "I've been throwing up all morning. I can't eat. I'm sick over this. Please don't leave me like this. Please." And then, "If you don't answer me, I'll know it's over." I stared at that one for a long time. Part of me, a very stupid, trauma-bonded part of me, wanted to call her and comfort her. Tell her I was okay. That she wasn't a monster. That we could figure this out. Because when you've been conditioned to be someone's emotional crutch, their forgiveness sponge, their reality filter, it's hard to remember that you matter too. But here's the thing. I've been making excuses for her for years. She's just passionate. She had a rough childhood. She's never had a stable relationship before. She doesn't mean to act like this. But last night, she meant it. She chose violence. She saw my face after that first punch and kept going. She watched me stumble and didn't stop. That wasn't trauma. That was control. That was cruelty. That was abuse. And when she screamed for me to get away while blocking the door, I realized this wasn't just about emotional manipulation anymore. She wanted to trap me. She wanted me to feel powerless, helpless, confused. She wanted me to question my own memory of what happened. And the moment I walked out, she lost that power. Laura sat across from me, scrolling on her iPad, when she suddenly looked up and said, "Are you going to tell Mom?" I hadn't even thought about that. My mom's not the kind of person you go to casually with something like this. She's the type who would be in the car within minutes, ready to burn someone's house down with holy water and sarcasm. I shook my head. "Not yet," I said. I still wasn't ready to say it out loud. Instead, I opened a new note on my phone and started typing. Everything. From the second we got in the car last night to the moment I left. Every detail, every punch, every scream, every moment of panic. I wrote it all down, not to report it. Not yet. But because I needed proof. For myself. Abuse messes with your head. It makes you rewrite things. Water them down. Forget how bad it felt in the moment. I needed something concrete to look back on when I inevitably started missing the version of her I wanted her to be. That's the worst part. Because as much as I hated what she did, I still missed her laugh. I missed the smell of her shampoo on my pillows. I missed our dumb little grocery store games and how she always stole fries off my plate and pretended she wasn't. I missed Sunday mornings in bed with Netflix and her icy feet pressed against my legs. But none of that changes what she did. The person who did those things is also the person who looked me in the eyes and swung at my face until I tasted blood. You can love someone and still walk away. You can miss them and still choose peace. You can feel guilty and know you made the right call. By the time the sun was setting again, I'd blocked her number, deleted the messages. I saved the note, backed it up to the cloud, and locked my phone. Then I walked into Lara's tiny balcony and just stood there for a while, breathing air that didn't feel heavy for once. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know what I'll say to people. I don't even know how to explain this to myself fully. But I know one thing for sure. I'm not going back. It's been 4 days. 4 long, surreal, utterly quiet days. I'm still staying at Lara's place. She offered me the spare key without asking. The couch has become my base of operations. Half blanket fort, half trauma recovery bunker. I've been surviving on leftover pasta, Lara's relentless tea offerings, and whatever comfort you can get from watching The Office reruns with the volume just low enough that you're not really watching. But you need the sound because silence still feels dangerous. Mia hasn't stopped trying to reach me. At least, not until yesterday. New numbers. Block calls. Instagram DMs from fake accounts with names like LilyStar9482 and Not Maya Just Worried. She even Venmo'd me $1 with a note that just said, "Please talk to me. I'm broken." Then, just like that, silence. And that silence? It's louder than any of the yelling we ever did. At first, I thought maybe she gave up. But then Lara showed me Mia had posted this long Instagram story about people who don't know how to handle real love and emotional men who make everything about them, and how trauma responses aren't abuse. I didn't even have to see my name to know she was talking about me. I wasn't even mad. I just felt hollow. Because the thing is, this entire relationship wasn't all chaos and bruises. That's what makes it so damn confusing. We had beautiful moments. Inside jokes. Road trips. Nights tangled up in each other where it felt like nothing else existed. She knew my favorite ice cream flavor. She remembered how I like my coffee. She held me when my uncle passed away and sat in the ER with me when I sprained my ankle playing basketball like an idiot. She loved me. But she also hit me. She made me feel small. She twisted my sense of reality until I couldn't tell if I was overreacting or surviving. And now, I'm just trying to put one foot in front of the other. I keep reminding myself I'm not overreacting, that I didn't imagine it, that even if she never throws another punch again in her life, the one she threw at me is real, and I'm allowed to walk away from that. I finally told my mom this morning. Lara sat next to me on speakerphone. I told her everything. From the first time Mia yelled at me for smiling at a waitress, to the night she hit me, to the moment she blocked the door like I was the threat. My mom was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You're not weak, honey. You're brave. So brave." I almost cried. Not because of the words, but because I didn't realize how badly I needed to hear them. I also went to get checked out this afternoon. Just to be safe. Mild facial swelling. A small crack in my phone and a matching one on my heart, but no broken bones. The nurse asked what happened, and I told her. She looked me in the eye, nodded, and gave me a pamphlet. Men's Domestic Abuse Hotline. I didn't even know that existed. She said, "You're not alone." It didn't hit me until I was walking out of the clinic that I've been carrying this shame like it was mine to own. Like I should have seen it coming. Like maybe if I hadn't laughed at that photo, if I hadn't read my Kindle, if I had just done something differently, I wouldn't be in this mess. But no, that's not how this works. It was never about the photo. It was never about the radio, or the tone of voice, or the mistext. It was about someone who needed control more than she needed love, and someone who kept mistaking survival for commitment. Tonight, I packed a small overnight bag. I told Laura I want to stay with a friend for a few days. Not because I don't feel safe here, but because I want to feel like me again, on my own terms. I want to sleep in a different space. Maybe even take a walk without checking over my shoulder for a familiar car pulling up behind me. Before I left, I taped a note to her fridge. Thank you for being the quiet after the storm. I love you. M. I don't know where I'm going from here. Therapy, maybe. Definitely some long talks with myself. Maybe a journal. Maybe just silence for a while. But I know this. I got out. I didn't wait until it got worse. I didn't let her rewrite the story. I didn't let fear convince me that chaos was love. I left. And I'm not going back.